now.
Well, at least they all live together, but let's see where they're going to play together.
Yeah, well, let's go to, the operator, the map ban phase. SK versus Obey. So SK first, Obey second. We won't have Bank or Clubhouse as they were played last play day.
Well, unfortunately, all that Clubhouse play, which was very fantastic to watch, means we just don't get to see any of it today.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just hoping we get something a little bit different. Maybe on Villa, but I seriously doubt we will. I expect SK to ban... Ooh. Obey to ban Villa? Yeah, so it looks like we're going to play Coastline. We're probably going to play Coastline here.
Most likely. There it is, Coastline, something we saw earlier today, but I think we saw it pretty good. What'll be interesting to contrast is we saw so many defensive wins on Coastline during that, and we may not see the same thing here, or we may.
It was almost entirely defensive wins.
Yeah.
2 attack wins, 1 from each team.
Yeah.
That was Noble versus SSG. It was a good match. You should watch it.
Yeah. Rewind. Either way, though, it looks like SK have played it once, and unfortunately, we're not the victors that time. So this could be their second attempt at it to try and make that work. Doesn't look like Obey have played it, though. So that's kind of been a theme for today, where it's one team has played the map, and the other team has not. Pretty consistently, outside of, was it maybe Consulate? No, even Consulate was in that. But either way, let's take a look at what you guys thought in terms of who's going to win this. And is it going to be SK favored? But just barely.
Wow, yet another draw being called out by the community, it seems. I did not anticipate that, I got to be honest. Obey are a really formidable team, and they are lower on the standings than I think they deserve to be.
It's true.
But still, SK have proven themselves so far in this season, and they are where they are because they deserve to be where they are because they've been playing excellently. A lot of that has to do with their well-oiled strategies. Again, probably one of the most strategic teams in North America, and more importantly, in my opinion, their deep understanding of the operator ban phase and their ability to lean into that operator ban phase.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, so in my mind, the way that SK plays, and it could just be coincidence when it comes to this op ban phase. It could just be coincidence. It could be I'm just reading too much into it. But the way it looks to me is they practice a particular type of style that is without a standard staple operator on a map. So they'll ban out a Thermite on a border, or they'll ban out a Habana on an Organ, or something like that.
Ying has been banned now every single match
And they'll practice with that in mind. And that creates their own little kind of world, their pocket world to play in.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you're right. Ying's been banned a lot.
Which is like, that was an EU thing. EU's the one banning Ying all the time. Now all of a sudden, 4 matches in a row today seems like, and it's like, I don't think the patch had anything to do with it, but it seems to be the flavor of the day.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, I guess. She is an operator that if you set yourself up perfectly, you can get some... she's basically the perfect operator if you have everything established.
And there's our first glass ban of the day. Like you said earlier, maybe the changes that came from the new patch made it a little less viable, so people just like, we'll use the ban on something else, but there he goes. And Echo, not as much of a surprise. We actually have seen a lot of Echo today. Was banned at least once, though.
Yeah, Echo was played a whole lot on the map we just watched, but and interestingly, not as much in the Rogue EG match as you would expect. He was played, but just not as much as you would anticipate. And then in the Noble SSG match, he was banned. But you would expect him to be banned all the time.
Yeah.
And he's just one of those operators. He's so influential.
We'll see if the last one's going to be Maestro or not.
This has been a noticeably slow ban phase, means that there's a lot of thought going into each of these bans.
Yeah.
Valkyrie getting taken out yet again. Interesting.
People sick of those cameras.
3 bans for Valk today. That's abnormal. That's extremely abnormal. I mean, she's up there in the top 5.
Well, it's interesting to just see the trends specific to today.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a lot of oddities, and yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays into the match. Of course, Mira not being banned is really interesting because she's really influential on this map.
Yeah, it's definitely a big deal. I mean, to be fair, last time we saw Coastline earlier, it was also not banned. So it's a case where it just seems like when it comes to Coastline, teams aren't as worried about it anymore. They have ways of dealing with it, like we saw them doing earlier, especially on the soft walls.
Right.
But we'll see if it factors big into this. Looks like Mint gonna trick us with the Blackbeard to Lion, and Skies on Pulse is always a good, entertaining view.
Yeah, he has a wide amount of operators he can play, but Pulse is one of those ones that is a little bit of an X factor. It changes the way he as an individual plays. Usually he's the sort of guy who's going to want to confront you and then, taper off and stall as a roamer.
Yeah.
Using that heartbeat detector, he can play around you a lot more aggressively, and we've seen that from him in the past. And definitely anticipated here.
Yeah, it'll definitely be useful if he can stay alive and play around underneath. It can definitely be a factor in stopping a potential plant. Interesting, they have a deployable shield being played on the bed itself for this defense. That is an oddity.
So my theory there is they're just trying their best to deny the plant on the bed, maybe. So
that would be an interesting use of it.
It might make it harder to vault on the bed from certain angles. That's what I expect.
Now, just for anyone who didn't catch the information earlier, because not everyone who watches this reads Reddit or Twitter, the shields being placed in windowsills, which prevented you from vaulting into them, is no longer allowed.
Yeah.
In Pro League, so you will not see that anymore. In theory, assuming
shield blocking, you can't do it.
So that will not be the case anymore. I mean, I suppose you could potentially block on the bed and it would be okay, but
you know the history of that though is actually kind of interesting because it's been allowed for a solid about a year and a half. It's been allowed.
It just never caught on.
Nobody used it. Yeah. The reason it wasn't allowed initially, way back, was because of the castle barricade thing you could do.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
And that was fixed quickly, and then it was suddenly allowed again. But I mean, it's not allowed anymore, so you can't. Yeah, you just can't do it.
Well, now that shield will rest peacefully on the bed, although it may get shot by one of these grenade launchers here. In theory, if he sees it there, but Smoke is going to deny him the angle. Skies here could be critical in stopping that plant because it doesn't look like they're really pressuring him. They're pressuring a lot on the site so early in the first minute of the round.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going for information, going for those angles like you talked about, and trying to get some kills. And it's good aggression here from SK. I really like what I'm seeing. I'm worried, though, because they haven't cleared out the pulse downstairs, and that's definitely going to bite them if they don't get a little bit attentive. There's even some holes pre-placed underneath the entrance to the site here. As you can see, as soon as Nick starts going for the actual site push, he will be shot from below. Gas canisters as well to delay. A little bit of damage being put onto Nyx there. Hit by his own concussion, in fact.
Unfortunate. Nonetheless, it doesn't hurt him, at least. Sky's still allowed to roam for free, though. Means as soon as they, like you said, go for this plant, they're definitely going to be in a world of trouble, potentially. But at least Bosco has taken a bit of damage and used up quite a few smoke grenades. But Benji, with the first kill on the Pojo Man, means they have no hard breachers now.
That's a very important frag. No thermite means, I mean, even with Habanagon, regardless, it's going to be a hard push to the side. But Jarvis and Hot get their own kills. And now it's looking a little bit easier for SK. They have a whole minute because they were so assertive at the beginning of the round, and now they're going to use that to the best of their ability. Nice EE1D coordinated with information from Mint, and he will get a free kill in the hallway. Bosco trying to hold on for dear life inside of Projector, but he's got to confront the hallway and from behind. Skies comes up, speaking of behind, onto Mint, and will get that kill. Alleviating the pressure on Bosco, but allowing for the site plant to come out from Nyx, thanks to poor positioning from the Obey defenders. And we'll get Bosco as he attempts to retake. This is not going to happen, leaving Skies the final defender to push into VIP.
He does see him there to an extent. He might have seen just the tip of a gun, but holding an angle here is not going to win this for him.
Post-plant situation, not a whole lot of time for Skies. He's got to get a little bit more assertive. He's got to get a little bit more aggressive. And Nyx will shut him down. Nice angle into Guitar, repelling on the window, and a very simple attack there for SK. They just put themselves in the positions to start taking fights and won those fights. I mean, they didn't even open the VIP wall. They really kind of sidestepped the whole defensive strategy of Obey Alliance.
Yeah.
And I like the way that they did it. Pulse downstairs, we'll just go somewhere where Pulse can't see for us. No big deal.
It was really interesting that they just pressured the site immediately within the first, like, 50 seconds. And then just kept pressuring it, kept pressuring it, kept pressuring it. Forced everyone to come fight them instead of going and clearing the whole map. And that was definitely a different strategy than you usually see. I mean, you don't usually see so much utility just being thrown at the bomb site that early, just in the hopes of taking all those fights and winning, despite losing the hard breacher early. Still, like you said, didn't have to open up that wall. And unfortunately, Skies, the last one left, had the slow trek back upstairs. But we'll see how the defense fares on Kitchen, which will be going to a little bit of a sixth pick from Skies, who will obviously be a roamer again here. This time, though, if he's roaming downstairs, you know, he's fine to be downstairs, but I imagine he'll be potentially up and down a bit. SK tend to stick with their lineup for the most part when they kind of have a consistent lineup they use. We rarely see a ton of variability from them, although we did see that sixth pick over the Lion last time. He's just going to go straight for it this time. We'll see if that factors in. We didn't see necessarily Maestro factor in too much last time. maybe my man will have a little bit of better strategy on this particular bomb site for that. He is going to be bringing a deployable shield to set up next to that bomb. We have seen that be an effective strategy before when we've seen a smoke playing it, for example, to be able to counter a push-through delivery when they try and smoke it.
I do like this setup, yeah, from Obey. It's very basic, but one thing that really, that especially I like from Obey is that they're not bringing the Mira. And I know that sounds weird, but sometimes a broken Mira is, well, always a broken Mira is worse. No, that's not true. Sometimes a broken Mira is worse than no Mira at all.
Either way, it's 7 years bad luck. So that's the big concern that you have to worry about. But no, I agree with you, and that's the big risk is you bring an operator that can actually work against you. There's not a lot of operators where I'd say that's the case.
Yeah, if you're setting up a kitchen mirror window facing into delivery and it gets broken, and then the enemy chooses to come from delivery, then you're hurting your hold quite a lot. It's better just to have the shield, have the rotation, and not worry too much about it.
Yeah. I mean, they have Evil Eyes as well, so that could potentially give them that extra visibility they might need. Plus, unlike mirror windows, it sees through smoke.
Exactly. So you have that information. You just have it in a lot safer of a package. So either way, SK still continuing with their trend of being very, very aggressive. They will use an EE1D in the first minute and start taking control over this top floor. Sky is going to be the one to confront them directly. He's inside of the hookah bar right now, which has been called out thanks to the excellent drone game that SK has. And Nyx will get the follow-up kill following Jarvis's drone. And it's a very simple coordination there for SK to establish control. And they still have a little bit to clear on that top floor, but I think they've already dealt with all the roamers upstairs.
Yeah, it's definitely been good. That's unfortunately Sky's down, who just did not live long enough. And we saw a very different roam game last match earlier.
That has to be the most efficient clear of the top floor I have ever seen on Coastline.
It was definitely very quick, much like their last efficient attack. But to be fair, Bosco trading it back here onto Houghton is definitely going to hurt things a bit. That means their top floor control can't work as effectively down. But we see that very often where the Buck just somehow dies. Even if it's Pengu playing, it will die upstairs a lot. Whatever it is about playing the Buck upstairs seems to be risky.
It is a bit of a, yeah, it is kind of dangerous. I mean, when you're opening up those holes, we always like to say they're two-way angles, right? So it's something you have to consider at all times. Now, EE1D, that's the second one used, not really going to be utilized even remotely. Doesn't seem like it was for any specific purpose.
Might have been a call out from one of the other players saying, I need that EE1D?
Yeah, possibly. Now, we've seen a really efficient clear of the top floor, but where is the follow-up from SK? Where is the push onto the site? They seem to be a little bit lackluster in that actual push, but man wins the fight against Mint in the main lobby. Nicely done, and Nyx is going to get exposed to Benji as he attempts to refrag, thus putting SK in a bigger hole.
Definitely seeming like Obey in a strong lead here, and this is what we see from a lot of these slow pushes. Once they get slowed down, defenders tend to win, especially because of time pressure, but 22 seconds left as Jarvis tries to approach the site, but Bosco gets one. At least Jarvis trades it onto my man.
It's all Jarvis now, 1 versus 3, 14 seconds. Not very likely that he's going to be able to clutch this out, but it'd be pretty impressive if he did. He's going to go through the rotation hole, probably the right play, but he misses the shot on Adam, who will not miss his own. And Obey will take their first round and the second round in this match.
And there's the use of that deployable shield again that we were talking about at the very beginning of the round. Made it so he was not able to get an angle and try and do that. Took denial achieved. And that it's funny that it took the whole round to make that useful, but it definitely got to it in the end. And that is SK, once you get slowed down, they have a little bit of trouble. Like you said, very efficient. But that was when they were able to just push on the site right at the beginning. And I think maybe that was the struggle for them is they just didn't put pressure on site itself till the very end, but back up to Penthouse, maybe they will.
I really got to appreciate the fact that Obey rotated off of Penthouse following their defeat there. However, they're going right back.
Yeah, you got to have at least a bar or a hookah defense to go to as well, and unfortunately, just maybe they're not feeling that comfortable on it yet, or they're just like, hey, we know what we did wrong the first time, but still try your other bomb site first before rotating. But that's something we see from Vitality. They will rarely stick a bomb site. If they lose it, that's fine. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And I don't know. I appreciate that from them.
Well, we're not going to be seeing it from Obey. But they, again, still managed to get that defense of the kitchen. So at least there's that. Now, the way that SK attacked this last time was very direct. So they came in through guitar. They didn't even bother with VIP, really. I mean, they pressured it, but they didn't open up the VIP walls. And they just went for a simple challenge frontally and get the kills type of attack. This shield has to play into the round somehow.
It has to be the case that Sky's playing the pulses meant to C4 from below, pressuring them, or making it so they can't get on the bed, makes it so Skies is able to do his job effectively.
You know, here's the thing, I can't say that the shield denies getting
Well, it denies positioning, so maybe it's the case that C4 might be effective enough on the edges.
What I'm thinking here is that the shield is put into place to catch the C4, because it can be really difficult to throw a C4 over the, if you want to hit on the bed, sometimes it can go over the bed.
Fair point. We saw Heavy go for that particular throw, for example, when he had his really good clutch the other day. And it's a case, yeah, you're right. That is it is a thing that could be a factor. Obviously, you'll lose the shield in that C4 explosion, but...
Or maybe it's the C4 from the mirror windows, as was trying to be pointed out.
So many possibilities. Let's hope we can ask Obey if they win.
We'll definitely give him a ask. Nick's getting down very early on, and he will be finished off by the gas canister from Bosco. Well done to him, getting the down and the finish from the mirror window. So the early pressure thwarted.
Yeah, that's an important one, because the first time they attacked, we saw how much Nyx was doing on that attack in terms of trying to pressure the entire room with all those grenades. Losing him early is definitely going to cost this attack a lot of its early momentum.
Absolutely agree. We still have a lot of time for the attackers. Now, they've lost utility, but it's going to be completely refragged as Maman is eliminated. That's the Bandit, no more Bandit tricking. One thing that I really take interest in is the fact that SK has brought a Habana yet again, rather than a Thermite. That, to me, seems like a huge gamble, considering the defenders could still go to Penthouse.
Yeah, it's a case where it's definitely something that may work against them if they can't get the holes lined up. But you hear the X-Kairos getting set up now that they got rid of the Bandit, which of course was the important kill to stop the Tricky on that. Let's hope they got those X-Kairos lined up just right. Looks like they do have a hole they can at least vault through, and we'll see if that shield comes into play.
We still have Skies downstairs. He's going to be using his heartbeat detector to try and find a C4. Give his team the advantage or deny the defuse plant outright. Either way, a very useful position for the Pulse to be playing, and it doesn't look like SK is even attempting to counter it. They have the avenue through that wall. However, it is a narrow one. With those Habana holes, you don't have as much flexibility. Bosco has eaten a lot of damage from the Capital bolts. He's going to be one bullet to kill from any of these operators. And the EE1D going to make these defenders stand still. Here comes the actual push. And the Firebolt to follow up to deny that rotation and allow for the defuse plant, but the rotation is missed. And the C4 will get Pojo. Well placed from Benji. And 30 seconds left, 3 versus 4. SK now have to put another body on that defuse plant, which is going to put it to 2 players, stopping 4 defenders from retaking the site. Jarvis has to be worried about these holes. EE1D is going to make these defenders stand still. Hot and Cold will get Skies, but still no plant happening. With 13 seconds, it's getting close to the wire.
Well, thankfully, the smoke from Capital covers his own plant.
It's a well-placed smoke, and the defuse plant has gone down, but VIP control in favor of Obey. The retake is totally possible. Adam from behind after Bosco gets mint leaves just 1 attacker. That's Hot and Cold, but he's in the optimal position to clutch this. And 2 players on the defense, the last 2 in fact, are on very low HP. A single bullet from Houghton will kill either one of them. He's got to time it just right though. As he positions himself on the drop down, this is the optimal position for Bosco to win the fight. Shotgun loses out though. Houghton goes for the first one, gets it, and gets the second as well. Adam taken out. SK will win the round, but it was oh so very close.
I really don't feel like Houghton should have won that. That was definitely a really good retake, especially Adam's flank from VIP really cost them everything. But the fact that he was able to retake control of that from Houghton, I don't know, that was a very, very good play on his part. And maybe Obey just unfortunately not capitalizing well enough on their own angles and the fact that they needed to get to that. But either way, Diffuser was planted, so left him in a tough spot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely saw Bosco winning that round with a shotgun blast at that proximity. Surprised he couldn't pull it out.
Well, either way, though, that is only 1 point more. SK just the slight lead here, but they're going to try Penthouse again. Something you said was probably a bit of a mistake, and I think, you know, some of that round advantage that they got was that early call into Nyx, but again, I mean, I guess they're playing into the predictability of SK. They're saying, like, we know at least what they do on this attack because they've been doing it consistently. So let's keep trying it but make adjustments because we almost won that round.
They were very close.
It was very close, but it's, I don't know, it's the case where they're really, again, putting a lot of eggs in this basket. And we see teams actually not commit so much to Penthouse anymore. So it's surprising to see Obey so insistent on winning it.
We've seen this from Hot and Cold before. He is dropping absolute bombs right now. 7 kills and only 1 death. he is very much defined by his name. You know, you'll either see him he'll get average pro league level kills, or he'll just pop way off to the point at which you're just questioning how can he even be this good. And it seems like that we're having the latter type of match here for Houghton right now. He's doing exceptionally well. For only 3 rounds in, having 7 is pretty impressive.
Well, let's see if it sticks around. Of course, it's only round 4 now, but I do think there's potential there.
Yeah, we've seen players before get a lot of kills in the first half and then completely fall asleep on the second half. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. But either way, we'll see. He's going to stick on that buck, which he's playing very well, but now he's going to get countered a little bit. Now, they got to watch out for any potential runouts, of course, here, because, well, you know, Skies does play downstairs most of the time, although this time he's not going to go for that pulse. This time he's going to be on Jaeger, playing a little bit differently, and have my man be one of the roamers there on Ella. So a bit of a different setup here coming out from these guys this time to an extent. And maybe that's just for some adjustments for things they thought didn't work so well last round. And maybe that was just, let's play a different roam game. Let's guard ourselves better against grenades here while my man roams.
I love this play from Nyx using the Zofia dual grenade launch. God, Lifeline sounds so much better.
Yeah, I'm just so used to saying that. I also noticed the Grismont mines now say concussion mine.
Really?
So they changed all of them. There we go.
Huh.
Thanks, Marcio. So,
all right.
And they just went for simplicity, which, you know, I appreciate, because not everyone's going to know what Grismont mine means.
Totally fair, actually. So the dual grenade launcher being used to open up the floor underneath the mirror window inside of Projector. And that will, if nothing else, apply pressure. You don't even need to peek into it. Just having the hole means the defenders have to be conscious of it. Now, there is an opened wall, it looks like, on the VIP side of things, and that's actually really dangerous for the defenders. And 2 reinforcements, so the rotation's there, but the cool thing about that rotation, and the reason Obey did it like that, is that they can challenge it directly from the mirror window. So there's an angle to deny. Also, I believe they can also, they're gonna have some prepped holes for downstairs to challenge it from below. And it's kind of a funnel. And that's why you see SK not using that funnel, instead opening up their own rotation through the wall.
Now, both of the Obey roamers are still kind of sitting static downstairs. Hot and Cold getting 1 kill onto Bosco, but immediately traded by the gas. That seems like an appropriate bit of revenge.
Yeah, Bosco onto Houghton as Houghton's onto Bosco. Back and forth, and both through utility. Now here comes the first attempt at the plant, Pojo Man, and my man's going to get mint on that push. But still, it looks like a successful plant as the C4 from Adam misses. Jarvis will get my man as well, following it up. Adam gets Nyx, and the diffuse plant just now will finally go down. Benji in close proximity to this diffuse plant. Jarvis holds the flank. Pojo Man will be thwarted. Now it's putting it into a one-on-one as Jarvis gets Adam. It's Benji from the Mira onto Jarvis on the Capital. Jarvis has the positional advantage. Benji does have the ability to actually defuse this, and he can just stick the disable, actually. He doesn't need to expose himself, and I don't think the Capital is going to be able to get it in time. No, in fact, it will be a stick there from Benji. Jarvis waiting too long, and a poor plant position means that Obey will take their very first successful defense of the penthouse.
Yeah, that was definitely an unfortunate situation. I'm not sure which bolts he had left. If he had the fire bolts left, then that was definitely a misplay in not using them on the corner there to guard the diffuser. If it was the smoke bolts, then obviously you're not going to get anything out of those. So
I somehow doubt he had the firebolt.
I doubt it too, but unfortunately, just the way he displays the count, you can't be sure.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I think we've been seeing him use the firebolts really aggressively to try and hold rotations during the plant and even get kills before the plant goes down.
Well, now they've successfully defended the penthouse. They're going to go back to the other bomb site they've defended successfully, which is the kitchen. So this is an interesting just 2 bomb site defense here. We have yet to see a third from them, and we definitely will not, because this is their last defense.
Yeah, so trying to figure out which team is going to win the first half. This is a pretty momentous round for both squads. Now, I think it was a pretty heavy shutout there for Obey when they went to kitchen for the first time. SK struggled on that attack a lot.
I would hope, you know, they would be a little more swift. I feel like this is what we saw with Mouse too, where when Mouse were slow, they would tend to lose. When SK are slow, we're seeing something similar. They need to be maybe a little more swift in their decisions or in their droning to make sure that they have the intel to execute on stuff. I feel like that is, those are the 2 factors most of the time that slow down a team, is either lack of intel or lack of good communication and IGLing to make the calls on what to do next.
So, kitchen setup, Obey. Curious to see if they're going to be prioritizing vertical control. It looks like they will. Sky's putting some reinforcements over on the hookah side of things, which is a little bit different. We have seen something like this before. In fact, we saw it earlier today when Noble were defending When Noble defending Penthouse, I believe they roam pretty heavily over by Billiards. Now, this isn't a Penthouse hold, it's a kitchen hold. But all the same, that roam by Billiards is extremely useful in slowing down the attack if that's where the attack is coming from.
Yeah, that makes some assumptions, of course, but Jarvis is coming to hookah, so
right.
Definitely looks like there's a possibility it could be going there. Could just be setting up stop out runouts as well, though, if they want to play from a different side. Like, let's say, for example, they want to play on that balcony for VIP. Having the ability to deny a runout is definitely useful on doing that. Of course, they could jump out the window, I suppose, but that's not the best way to play that. They do have a mute jammers, though. Skies is going to be on mute this time. It doesn't deny a ton of droning, but anything you can do to slow down SK's attack, we saw it definitely was a factor last time, so it feels like mute might be the right choice this round.
I really like that note from Obey taking something from their previous opponents when we saw the Obey Noble match, and Noble really slowed down Obey a lot to the point at which Obey banned mute in the next map that they played together. So probably a good call there for Obey, and I like that they're adapting strategies from other team, or not really strategies, but they're bringing in operators that they see as useful because they struggled against them.
Yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of the teams are definitely picking up, and that's why we're seeing mute banned so much as well, although some of that is also Oregon Hatch. But either way, yeah, it's definitely, the meta is shifting quite a bit. Surprisingly, Maestro's still free to run around here, despite how big, slow, and noisy he is, but he does have backup from Skies. They are dedicating a lot of drones downstairs here and losing a lot of those drones. I feel like Obey just winning the intel game here is going to keep SK on a slow path.
Yeah, Obey is stalling this out hardcore. You can see Nyx and my man having a bit of a standoff, but they don't even know about it. A lot of roamers in that main lobby, like you talked about, and it's a pretty easy thing to pinch the roamers in main lobby, but SK doesn't seem focused on it. They're instead prioritizing the actual site itself, and that could work really hard against them. When you have so many roamers off-site horizontally and you start pressuring into site and you're not aware of those roamers, when they start coming back to the site and retaking onto you, then it becomes an impossible attack. So Nick's going to take the first little bit of damage in the round. My man will finish him off. Again, those angles are two-way. You got to remember, Bosco has been downed, but we only have 30 seconds left here as well. Obey picks up Bosco.
Well, at least the 1D coming out, as well as smoke from Jarvis. They're getting ready for the push, but counter smoke from Bosco pretty much making this impossible.
Yeah, they're going to rush through that smoke because they have no other options with so little time left. The proximity plant, but there is a couple defenders inside a bathroom who could potentially deny this if they hear it. From the main lobby stairs, Mid will get Skies. It's a really great position to be in right now, and it looks like the defuse planter has been down, but the defuse as well is on the floor. Cotton gets my man from above, and a second onto Bosco as Benji gets Pojo Man, the defuse planter himself. And this vertical pressure could work out, but it's another stick from Obey. Jarvis will deny it this time. He says, not again. And Houghton from above will get one more kill to finish out the round in SK's favor.
So despite how low they were on time, how desperate that push was, the run through the smoke really paid off because he was able to get that plant down thanks to the smoke from Capitao. And just a lot of angles being fought. Unfortunately, the angles just did not work out at all from Obey. Almost surprised we didn't see a run out from the lobby door in terms of trying to come out for a flank onto the delivery door. But either way, there was a lot of people in a lot of different places that were able to deny the defense rotations, as well as the pressure from above. The Bucks still being alive upstairs, I think, was definitely a big problem for them, and trying to retake that because he kept catching people off spots. Even if he wasn't landing the shots, he was putting a lot of positional pressure on them that forced them into compromising positions. And interestingly enough, SK's first defense going straight to hookah.
It's a little bit of a different sight, one you don't expect. Now, in that last round, the genius of it for me from SK was very specific. I talked about how if you try to take onto the site when you've got roamers afield and then the roamers collapse on you, it's really hard to fight back against that, especially when you put yourself in the constrictive time. But when you push in through delivery, the roamers don't really have a whole lot they can do to flank you. It's a direct confrontation. Roamers effectively become anchors when they come back to site at that point. It's less of a side attack, more of a, hey, direct confrontation.
There's a couple possible jump outs you can use, but all of them, again, it's like a one-to-one trade at that point. You could jump out lobby door, you could jump out the penthouse window, you could even jump out a kitchen window and go for a long run, but yeah, those are all very, very risky.
And Obey didn't use any of those. They went for said direct confrontation. They just wanted to engage their opponents, and it didn't work out for them. And that was a nice isolation and execution from SK. You could see that the scoreboard's a little bit slanted for SK. 11 kills on Houghton.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes when he pops off, when Houghton really gets going.
Yeah.
No, when he's not having the best matches, he's still doing really well as a player. But when he really pops off, he is incredibly skilled.
Definitely a fantastic player all around, and it's definitely working out for SK, but it's only translated into a 1-point lead.
Yeah, it is a bit of a struggle right now for both teams, and these squads are as close as you would expect them to be. Their standings don't really reflect...
Did he throw... What? What? That's a highlight.
It's all right, my man. We didn't see anything. Everybody...
No. Pojo saw that.
Forget you saw that. It's totally not going to make its way into a digest.
No, not at all. But you know what? To be fair, the camera's dead now, and that's all that matters. You still have another grenade.
You got it. You got it, my man. Good job.
Got it. All right. Well, still plenty of time left in the round to make use of that second grenade. Benji could clear out a bit as well with his flashes. First, for this push, they're again going with the Habana for a hard breacher, something that we saw SK doing the whole time. So Thermite just not a big favorite here in this particular matchup, despite how much we saw him on the last Coastline matchup.
Hey, I guess sometimes you only need to open up little parts of wall instead of an entire part or entire chunk of a wall. Either way, you know, it sometimes just comes down to individual preference, team preference, and the like. This guy's going for, or trying to get onto the tarps over by the roof. It's going to take him a couple tries, it seems.
I actually saw something in the patch notes about vaulting onto tarps being disabled.
They fixed it?
I believe so. It mentioned the purple tarp specifically, so there's a chance that you just cannot do that now. Well, this guy's, unfortunately...
Apparently beholden to the patch notes. Maybe he'll have a chance to read those fixes next time.
Yeah, well, he's definitely going to have a chance to after this match, I suppose, before tomorrow. But he won't be playing Coastline either way, because he can't play 2 days in a row.
True. So... we talked about slow attacks. We talked about SK slow attacks. Now, Obey on their first is just as slow. And that was a frightening moment there for a second.
He's so close to a headshot on this teammate.
But they have control over Aqua, which is a great beachhead for an eventual push onto the A's site. And here it comes. The EE1Ds, the gas canisters to respond, and you can see Obey's just waiting for their opportunity. They have another EE1D, I believe, still, so they aren't feeling too rushed. A lot of roamers downstairs, but also a buck downstairs. That's my man trying to pressure from Sandwich. Mint not going to read into that, though, instead rotating farther away from him and just going to come back up the stairs to try and anchor on the site. Or no, he's moved over to the main lobby. An interesting choice there from Mint. Jarvis is going to get the first kill. Adam goes down. 30 seconds left. Still luggage control in favor of the defenders. C4 will get Benji. That's a nice placement there from Nyx. Flashbangs from Bosco in an attempt to get control of the site. He wants to go for that plant. There's not a whole lot of time to do it, but he's got to worry about his flank as well. Jarvis on that said flank. Perfect timing from Jarvis to get the headshot, and he will. Mint also gets Skies, and Pojoman shuts down my man as he attempts to push up the blue stairs. SK with a complete shutout from Obey.
Well, for their first defense and on a very off bomb site, a very, very solid defense all around. A great series of plays as well by Jarvis on that flank, playing on that dock. Definitely worked out very well in their favor there. We'll see how well they do on Kitchen, but they are looking strong to take this in a 2-point lead right now and very close to at least match point.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I know Hookah's an offsite. It's different than most people don't like it, especially in the comp scene. But I think it's just as viable as any other.
Oh, absolutely. I just feel like it is one of the least picked. So it's definitely not necessarily that it's less viable. It's just that preference-wise and meta-wise right now, we're seeing it a lot less played. But there are a lot of effective strategies for it. I do think this is a 4-site map for sure.
And that's really the niche that SK is best in, off meta.
Absolutely.
That's where they find themselves excelling the most, and that's where you see their best strategies. Even a basic hookah hold like what we just witnessed was an absolute shutout to Obey. So, yeah, I mean, that's what SK has always been good at. Well, that's it. They're going to go into a kitchen hold next, or so it seems.
Yeah, we'll see how they hold in here. They do have some denial operators here. You got Pojoman potentially playing on the site himself, but Jarvis is going to, again, play that dock. I imagine roaming just because, well, he seemed to play that fairly effectively. And we know Jarvis is a good roamer. We've seen his Vigil play in the past as well. Very effective on Chalet, which, of course, we won't be seeing Chalet for a while. But nonetheless, I think he's been playing it well despite his slow speed, which is impressive. You can always pull out the pistol, I guess, for a little bit of a speed boost, but that's a risky thing to do.
Yeah, he did have a really good round last, just the round prior on his Doc roam, so can't really critique him for it. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people like to take operators like Doc and stick them into, you know, predetermined pools of you're an anchor, you're a roamer, you're a whatever. And truth is, any operator can roam or anchor. It really just depends on how you want to play it.
Absolutely. It's just some people benefit more or less from playing farther or closer to site, but you absolutely, I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. WAG on the roaming smoke, for example, is a demonstration that you can play it however you want, as long as it works for your team.
Exactly. So, last round we saw very slow attack from Obey, and it cost them. It hurt a lot. They need to get more assertive. They need to get that control faster if they want to change the outcome of this round.
Ooh, Mint!
This is not great for Maman or Obey as a whole, as Mint gets a very late peek outside and a free kill.
Yeah, unfortunately set off the car alarm as well. Imagine he'll be dealing with the owner of that vehicle soon.
Yep. So close to the Lamborghini doorway.
Unfortunately, it was not the Lamborghini. But that is an important operator down. My man, being the Buck, he would be able to apply a lot of pressure on the kitchen like we saw on SK's attack previously, how effective that was. Will be denied completely. Now, it wasn't their hard breacher or anything as important, but they do still have a sledge, so they have something comparable. It's rare to see a sledge and a Buck a lot of times on the same operator line up there, so I guess redundancy in this case paying off for Obey.
It's been a very, again, slow attack.
Yeah.
And they've lost that Buck early on, so that utility not used. Hodden's going to get skies, so even more damage done. Bosco has been down, 50 HP onto him as he gets picked up. This has been a great round for SK, and Jarvis is just playing an extremely tight angle, waiting for the fight. Mint will bait for Jarvis, and Jarvis actually loses the fight regardless of the bait. Bosco, that must have been an incredibly impressive shot. I wish we had gotten to see it.
Definitely a nice one. But nonetheless, it's still advantage to SK right now.
Yeah, despite all of that, 50 seconds left and one-man advantage in SK's favor. We're going to have to rely on some pretty exceptional play from the remaining Obey players if we want this to come back.
Well, it's still time for this attack to work, but they have to be a little more speedy. At least Benji coming around to the backside of Kitchen here means they could go for this plant. There are smokes going out already, so that could be potentially at least some of that utility denied to deny the plant. But there is at least one more smoke canister going out now. They're going to have to pick things up a lot more.
Last 20 seconds. We've been seeing this happen quite a lot. It's going to be a quick round from here on out. Lots of condensed action. Nick's going to be the front line on this defense, and Benji will dispatch him. Now site control, that's A in favor of Obey, but looks like Pojo Man's going to fight back as well as Hot and Cold, and there is no time to plant the diffuser. Mint ready to lock out the round. Obey lose another one. SK put it on to match points.
Definitely looking solid here. I honestly don't know if I could see Obey coming back from this just for the way they've been playing so far. They did okay on their defense, but the defense from SK just seems so much more solid than what we saw from Obey that I feel like even if Obey get one more round here, I see it going to 6 for SK. They will be going down to Bar though, and this could be maybe a weaker bomb site for them. We did see them start on Hookah. They're actually just completely avoiding Penthouse, which is, well, literally the opposite of what we saw from Obey on defense. Jarvis, again, going to be sticking to that dock. I mean, it didn't lead to necessarily a lot that round, but it's still been very effective. My man going with the redundant Buck to the sledge again. This attack, unfortunately, did not seem to work out for them last time. I imagine my man might live a little bit longer this time, as that was a bit of a peek out. That was cheeky from Mint that seemed to work last time. Sky's actually, nope, not going to be redundant after all. Baits it and goes for the phone calls.
Well, you can never have too much of a good thing, right?
No, I mean, as long as that good thing works. Pulse coming out here from Hot and Cold. Now, that'll be interesting to see if that factors in to Blue especially, because, you know, it's not something you can play too effectively on the site itself. So that's going to be kind of an off-site, but playing it from above doesn't necessarily give you a whole lot either.
I imagine if you played a Pulse in Sandwich or in Sunrise Bar, which is still the site technically,
yeah,
you'd be able to help your team out a lot. I mean,
yeah, to an extent.
Getting information on billiards as well as hookah at the same time is pretty good.
And yeah, in theory, and it depends on how well you can hold your position.
Especially if we do have such an emphasis on soft destruction from Obey. I mean, they did rotate off of the sledge, but all the same, SK doesn't know that.
Jeez, Hot and Cold still showing off there.
Yeah, geez. And indeed. He has the same amount of kills and then some as compared to Obey's top 2 combined.
Yeah, plus some assists even, because why not?
Yeah. He's been doing very well so far. 5-2, SK heavily favored right now, and it seems like they have the defense really locked up tight. Obey, on the other hand, have been struggling to apply any real pressure to SK on their attacks. While they managed to eke out some defensive rounds, it just hasn't been the same here.
Well, attack going to have to speed things up a little bit this time. At least they have more accessibility to the outside on this attack in some ways. I mean, yeah, sure, the kitchen has a lot of outside as well, but I feel like this one has more accessibility in terms of the way you can attack it. There's multiple windows, there's multiple doors, there's multiple ways to attack it. Hookah itself also has a lot of accessibility from the outside to take top floor control. But at the same time, if they're not speedy on any of those things, none of that really matters.
Absolutely concur there. They are going to start taking control of Hookah, or sorry, rather, Aqua, but it's pretty late in the round to be inching your way into the building and just one layer deep. You spend a minute droning your way in here. It's got to be worth it. That's the honest truth. It just has to be worth it. And you could see there isn't much roamer presence upstairs. See Hot and Ear Sandwich going for the C4, and he will get my man. That's the softest structure gone. So vertical control, be darned, it's not going to help Obey a lot in this round.
At least Benji still has 2 breaching rounds left he could use to help open up the floor a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely a lot of resources dedicated to that versus just using a skeleton key or a sledgehammer. So hopefully he can make something work, because like you said, the vertical control is important on this bomb site, especially for people that are kind of sticking themselves behind that bar.
So Obey doesn't necessarily have to go for the blue bar take. I mean, they have options. As Nyx gets Bosco, though, their options become more limited. Adam will refrag from above, it seems. Or no, actually, simply from the pool entrance. The long angle catching that rotation. Gas canisters come out from Pojo Man to try and slow up this attack a little bit, but still Obey are at the disadvantage, and it will extend itself as Pojo Man eliminates Benji. Now a 2 versus 4, the last 2 attackers in the same exact position, just looking to push from that pool entrance.
Well, 2v4 is not a good position to be. At least a phone call coming out, but the only other utility is EMP grenades here at this point to try and push in through the same door, and there's a pulse to know exactly when that's happening.
Skies is going to read this situation and choose to address it from another position. Good on him to keep the rotations alive. You could potentially get that frag onto Pojo Man behind the bar and open things up here for Adam to make the push. And the diffuser is currently down. Not sure where it is exactly. It looks like it's actually outside, and it doesn't look like Skies is going to pick it up. So he's made his push, and he's going for it, but it's not going to get much or bear much fruit. He will get Pojo Man, and Houghton loses that fight to Adam. What is happening right now? But the diffuser's still down outside, so it doesn't matter. The last defender upstairs is going to win on time because the last 2 attackers from Obey left the diffuser dropped outside the building.
How often can you say you just throw an entire round by leaving your little suitcase outside?
That was inches away from a 2 versus 4 clutch, but Skies neglected to pick up the objective.
Well, unfortunate way to go down there. To be fair, I do think it was still probably going to lean SK's way, whether it be that round or the next round.
I mean, it was, yeah, okay, moving forward, you're
Yeah.
right. There was no, I don't think that that was going to be a comeback from Obey. But I do have to say, what an oversight to forget the diffuser, at least in that round. It was so close to an incredible clutch. We were just we were on the precipice of it, and it didn't happen.
Well, either way, SK maintaining their dominance in this league here, getting another 3 points. That's going to skip them very high up as if they weren't already. I believe they were number 2 under Rogue previously, now going to be...
When we started the day, they were in second place.
Now